Okay. Well, are you rested yet?
No.
Hey guys, welcome to the Happy Man channel. It's a different kind of video. I've got one of the big reasons in my life why I'm the Happy Man here with me.
Big reasons.
So we're not doing a normal devotional video because we're taking some time off. Just for the week. It's been a different week for us. Not a work week, it's family staycation. So we have very, very different kind of life here, very different schedule. And one of the things we have learned over the last several years is it's super, super important that our family takes some time for rest. So we found this is especially true before or during or just after a very, very busy season of life for us. And we're headed out of and into another very busy season. Weekly Christmas practices and busy school schedule and lots of different things in ministry and in our family life that will take a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of thought, much like many of you can relate to. So especially in the ministry, we have found that if we don't actually on purpose carve out time for rest, then we really smart for it. So we've got a few questions here for maybe you to consider, and we'll answer them ourselves. And so, Monica, why is family vacation important to you?
I think for me, the biggest part of that is the memory making factor, especially for our children. I mean, that's going to be the case for me regardless, even after the children grow up and perhaps move away. But we have such a brief window with them, and because of the nature of our schedule, it's not just us working hard, it's all of us. It's all of our children work very hard at home and for our ministry. And even more so now, especially with our two eldest, Darren and Katie, are working outside of the home a little bit more. And so I think it's extremely important in their childhood years to carve out time to make those memories outside of the daily grind of work and give them rest and give them play more so than what they usually would have, and just create special moments among just us that will be core memories for them to take and pass along to their own children. I think that's really, really important.
Yeah, I think so too. Memories are a valuable part of growing up and so super important. I honestly, I think family vacation is important to me because from a leadership standpoint, it's my job to make sure that my family is provided for. And so I am responsible to provide those times of rest so that we can make those memories. And then on the flip side of that, after the time of rest is over, or because we've just come through a busy season and we're going into another one, I think we both desire for those times of busyness to be as productive and effective as possible. And if we're going from one busy to another busy, then that's burnout waiting to happen. And we can't afford that.
Right.
So how would you say family times of rest, planned family vacation, has benefited our family?
Well, it's definitely given an element of a reset at times when we needed it. It's easy to get bogged down in what we're doing, and it helps to come away, come apart, and have a little bit of a reset where we can turn off not necessarily all responsibilities, because obviously we still have to function and the work is still there, but to step away from it and to realize ourselves by, following the Holy Spirit, but also to show our children that there is a time for rest and a time for work, and putting those in their proper places in our lives has been a huge help to all of us, I think.
I think it's been fun to see our family connect in different ways during times of rest than we do in those moments of downtime when we're working.
Yeah.
It's, whether it's sitting and watching something together or playing a game together or even just going and doing the making of a different kind of memory than we would during our normal everyday kind of, work week. It's been really fun to see just different kinds of memories made, stuff that, like you said before, we wouldn't have the opportunity to do were it not that we have carved out time and money to do exactly that. So, Monica, would you say our schedule was more or less productive when we were not taking time off on purpose?
Definitely less productive. We didn't even start taking family vacation time until we had been married, I don't know, almost 15 years, which sounds like a lot, but doing deputation, you don't have time for family vacation, or at least we didn't make time. Our schedule was very tight, and when you've got families on the road taking 2 or 3 or 4 years to get onto a field, especially one in Europe where it is quite expensive to live, perhaps a third world country, you're not spending that much time raising support because you don't need as much support. But it is very taxing and exhausting, and it is not a vacation, though you are traveling constantly.
Wait a minute, deputation's not vacation?
I'm sorry you had to find out this way. And then coming here, having really limited resources and trying to stay busy in the work, you find all kinds of excuses to not make it happen. But like Phil was saying, that's a definite road to burnout, and burnout is usually driven by pride. I think it's one of the biggest pitfalls of ministry life is that we can easily become a martyr ourselves into the work without taking time off, and nobody's impressed by that.
I've got to keep going. Nope, the work can't survive without me.
And I'm just going to keep doing this, and I can't do anything else. And I think that's a choice. And to bludgeon your family into following you, doing that is, in my opinion, not wise. And from the wife and mom point of view, it doesn't foster respect or admiration. So we talked about that, and we decided a handful of years ago that we were going to make one time a year where no matter what, our family just spent some time together and took some days off together, whatever that was going to look like. And it's over these past years, it has looked like a great many things to us, and that's okay. It's not the same every year, but it's not productive to drive your people into the ground. It's just not. And when we're cared for and nourished and cherished and our cups are full and we've been given time to rest, we are much more productive people. And to me, that's logical. And we've seen it play out in our own life.
I think one of the biggest ways that I see us being less productive in those times when we were not taking time off on purpose was one of the big areas where I've seen memories being made, different interactions happening because of time off, as we are able to emotionally recharge each other in these times off. And whether it's me and you, or especially us with the kids, I think you touched on it just a minute or two ago, of how our kids work really hard. And you and I have talked about this many times, that I look at the things that our precious kids do in our family life and in our ministry, and it's hard not to compare that to what was I required to do when I was a kid. And it's not a good or bad kind of thing. It's just so vastly different.
It's very different.
That our children, like, they are our children's ministry workers at our church. They are a an integral part of our music ministry in our church. They are a huge, like, the outreach ministries of our church. And, I mean, of course, you and I are deeply involved in all those things, but without our kids, those areas of our ministry would seriously suffer.
Right. The special events
Yes,
and
yes.
everything else that happens in our church calendar year, they are right up front doing the work with us.
So if we are taking this time on purpose to emotionally connect and emotionally recharge each other as a family, then that means we're far less likely to have emotional difficulties outside of these times off. And honestly, I shudder to think where we would be these many years on had we not started taking family, on purpose times of rest.
Yeah.
So who should initiate times of rest?
I think that mainly you should.
I agree.
I mean, that's not to say that I shouldn't. And I think it's really important for wives to communicate and not just expect the husband and the daddy and the pastor and however other many hats he's wearing to just know what every single member of his family needs at all times. I mean, he's ultimately responsible for those things, but also we're in this together. And I think that initiating that obviously comes down to the head,
Yeah.
but also it's not wrong for me to communicate the need for it or, think things through a little bit and say, hey, can we do this? Was it about 2 years ago? I did something that I've never ever done before then and never have since and probably never will again. But we were just in a really bogged down time of life. We were busy and we were stressed out and there was no end in sight. And I remember being at home with the kids one afternoon. I think I had worked that morning teaching and we were trying to get ready for the Lord's Day. And I was like, you know what, guys? I grabbed my phone and it was in January and schools had just gone back into session. And so I started looking at Airbnbs here on the island and I found a really, really good cheap deal and I booked it for like 3 days and I'm like, we're going. And I never would have made a decision like that without...
Oh, well, yeah, that's totally out of character for you, of course.
Without asking Phil. And I was, after I did it, I was like, oh no, what have I done? And the kids were kind of like, Mom.
It was so needed, though.
It was very needed.
Honestly, that wouldn't have had to even happen had I had my head properly on my shoulders at that time and been leading in that area. And I think that was about the time frame of life for us when we were like, okay, hold on. If this is going to be a real thing every year, we're going to have to plan out the year.
Yes. And it was, it was lack of planning. It was stress. It was financial strain. Peter was only a few months old at the time. And so it was just a great many things at play. And so we took 3 days away. Where did we go? Wexford.
Yeah.
And we didn't do anything extravagant or anything. Of course we didn't. We just went and sat in an Airbnb and ate snacks and, brought our own food and
walked by the seaside.
Walked by the sea, hung out,
Yeah.
explored nature a little bit, let the kids play outside for a while. And then we came home and we were reset.
So that...
the initiation. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
That was the question.
That was a very special memory for all of us. Every one of us remember that little short family vacation we had probably as much as we remember any of the other ones.
Sure, yeah.
And honestly, guys, in our relationship, our family dynamic, like is the case in I think a lot of marriages, Monica is the thinker and planner. She's the list maker. She's very different personality-wise than I am. But personality is no excuse for the man not taking the lead on these things. And this has been a hard lesson for me to learn. And I don't say a hard lesson for me to learn as in understand, but a hard lesson for me to learn as in apply consistently. And I honestly hate using the word wish because wish really is just, it's worthless. It's a prideful, self-serving word. But I do wish that in previous years that I had initiated the thinking and planning and communicating of, okay, this week, this year, we're going to carve this out. This will be our family vacation time. And, a couple of, what was it, about 2 or 3 years ago, we started doing that. And then we've gotten a little more consistent over time with planning out the whole year as best as possible. Saying, just taking the major events of the year
Yeah.
and saying, okay, well, barring God's providential direction otherwise, this is when these important things are going to happen for us. And one of those is family vacation week. And it is time for the man of the home, especially. Man, I want to challenge you to take that initiative and rise up to the challenge of initiating that time of rest. Nobody's saying you have to be the one to plan out every single detail. You probably have a pretty good teammate in your corner that you can go to and say, look, honey, I think this time of year would be the right time for us to take a family vacation. Here's some suggestions I have of where we could go, what we could do, even if it's something as simple as staying at home. But my encouragement is that you men would rise up and initiate that time of rest. So, Monica, what does family vacation look like to our family?
It can look like a great many things. Like this year looks way different than last year. So it depends on, what is our schedule surrounding the family vacation time that we've blocked off? What is our financial situation? And that's not just like, how much money do we have in the bank, but what financial needs are coming up? What have we just needed to invest in? That's different from year to year, but it looks like intentionally setting days aside to literally do nothing, which maybe sounds boring to you, but to us, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And setting aside time to do 1 or 2 things that are fun. So they don't have to be super costly. We can plan ahead for them, but doing something fun and doing a lot of nothing. It's okay with me for our kids to be bored. In our schedule, they don't get a whole lot of time to be bored. And so to have some days where they just don't know what to do with themselves and have to use their imaginations and be creative and do things that they just enjoy doing at play, or being creative, that is wonderful for them. And it fills their cups to be able to do that. And it's good for them as human beings, to not constantly have something occupying them. So family vacation looks like downtime to us. It looks like doing nothing.
Yeah. We spend so much of our life scheduled one day to the next, from one activity to the next activity. And so family vacation looks like to us having a couple of nice memory making events scheduled, and the rest of it being like, what are we going to do today? Nothing.
I don't know.
Sit around.
Yes.
Enjoy being with each other.
And we literally plan days to do just that.
Yeah.
It's not, that may sound like lack of planning or preparation or prudence, but it's not. It's planned and built in on purpose. And that's wherever we are, whether we're staying home. This week we called a staycation because we stayed right at home and prepared for that in different ways, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But, a few years ago, we took a ferry to Scotland and stayed there for like Monday through Friday. And it was the dead of winter and the kids had a blast, and we didn't really do anything of importance there, did we?
What was the standout memory from that whole vacation?
That free transportation museum.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
In Glasgow. Yeah.
See, for me, it was watching the kids enjoy the ferry ride.
Oh, the ferry. Yeah. That was, if you ever get a chance to travel by ferry, it is way better than flying.
Agreed.
And we loved it. We drove our car right onto the ship and got out and wandered around and sat in the cafe, and the kids went out on the deck, and that was a trip in itself.
Of course, then the other standout memory was
so
after
excited,
doing our
Amy?
Airbnb grocery shopping the first night, trying to discover what we were going to have for dinner.
Oh,
And then we saw what was the promised land for us because it had been so very long since we'd even seen the words, much less eaten the food. And we're looking at restaurant options around us, just something real quick to grab, that night before we headed to the Airbnb for the night. The very first day we get in Scotland, and we discover that there's Taco Bell there. And the whole car was screaming.
We were screaming with delight, which it's only Taco Bell. So,
and I'm sure most of you are like, gross, Taco
I know,
Bell.
But it was a taste of home for us and for our older kids anyway, and a taste of adventure for our younger kids who had never had it. So that was really exciting, but it's truly the little things.
Yeah. And on a side note, Taco Bell actually just opened its first store in Ireland.
Yes.
3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so we got to share, as part of our family staycation this week, we got to share on our first night a surprise visit with a family friend of ours to meet our family with their family at that Taco Bell, and just had tacos.
Ate tacos in an Apple Green gas station.
Yeah.
And it was fun, but that's the stuff. That's, our vacations look different from year to year. And last year we went to Donegal and stayed for a week in an Airbnb. And this year we stayed home and did a lot of nothing, a couple fun things, but they look like time that's just for us.
Yeah. So what are some cost-effective ways you would say we could make vacation happen with little to no money for vacation?
Right. Like
this year.
Yes. Well, one thing is a tip that I got from my mom not too long ago. I was lamenting on the phone with her about how busy we are and how on one of the days of the week we have to leave early. But I'm in school until a certain time, and I have to have dinner made at a certain time, and then we have to leave. And so I'm like, I don't know how to get all of this done. There's no time in the day. And she said, Monica, just make 2 dinners one of the nights of the week and then have the dinner you need, that extra dinner. I'm like, oh, she's like, you have lots of extra helpers, and I do. And if you already have the groceries, which we always would, to make the dinners for the week, just while you're making one dinner, go ahead and start another dinner and make them both at the same time, and then you have a dinner in the bank. And so it's like, yeah, good idea. And so I kind of took that premise, which I've done a lot of prep ahead cooking in the past to save us money on family vacation. We always stay. Usually, if we're going away from home, we stay in an Airbnb in the off season. So it's not tourist season. Yeah. School is in session. And so we get the cheapest rate. And then we bring all of our own food. So we're not eating out. We might plan a treat of eating out once or, get some ice cream or something like that during the week. But we keep it very cost effective. And so I just made all of our dinners in the last 2 weeks. And so I was not planning on making any dinners during family vacation, and I didn't because they were all just in the freezer and ready to go. Even right now, we have dinner for tonight is already made. I just have to pop it in the oven. And dinner for tomorrow is already made because I didn't want to make a Sunday dinner coming off of our days off. And so today and tomorrow's dinners are ready. I had some fun breakfast things in the freezer, like breakfast burritos. And so we didn't spend any more on groceries than we usually would. And we usually don't spend more on groceries when we're going away. We just take our things with us. I have them all frozen and ready to go. We stay in an Airbnb that has what we need in it. So that's going in the off season to find a cheaper rate and preparing your meals and bringing them with you. Obviously you could cook in an Airbnb, but if you're trying to take time off and do nothing, then it's wiser to have that all prepared and just bring it with you and enjoy doing nothing on your vacation. So those are some ways we save money. Another way, this particular time, we always take a family vacation at about the same time, and it's immediately following mine and Phil's birthdays. So we sometimes, out of the graciousness of the Lord and generosity of other people, we many times have birthday money that we can spend on a fun activity for the family. And so we're not gouging into, support checks or our personal savings or anything like that to take family time away. We do it as modestly as possible and make it about the time, not about the stuff or
Yes.
the events.
Yeah, that was going to be my pointer of, taking very little and making it very much.
Yes.
Is really about, I think, one way to put something in the bank for that is to, throughout the year, not make everything as big as it can possibly be. We're so constantly inundated with, you've got to have the best and the most expensive, and why not learn ourselves, but also teach our children to truly appreciate the small stuff
Yes.
and make a big deal out of that. And like, I think about, of course the meal prep and all that stuff is super helpful tips. The thing we went and saw, one of the things we went and saw or took part in as a family this week was to go to a historical museum site about an hour and a half or hour and 40 minutes away from us. And we were blessed because that place had off-season rates as well as family rates. So, look for special deals that you can get on that kind of thing. But the big thing about that was not that we got to go and see this kind of living museum thing that we went and saw, but that there were little things all throughout that were just special to just us. Like pumpkins growing in the middle of a cornfield, in front of an American historical fence. It just was learning to take those littler things and make them really these special things. I think are a huge way we can make family vacation really memorable and make it happen with next to nothing to do it with.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be about the cost.
Yeah.
Or the stuff.
Right.
It's enjoying the little things and making much out of those, and teaching our children to do the same, like you said.
Yeah. So, guys, what kinds of things would you like to know about our life, our family, our ministry in Ireland? I like to tell our church folks we're an open book. Obviously, if something that's too personal is asked, then I'm not going to answer that business. But if you're curious about what's life like in Ireland, or what's your ministry like, or how do you do this, or I would love to have your comments on this video. Comment any questions you have for us, or if you have your own advice, your own memories you'd like to share, tips for family vacation, especially on a tight budget where you live. It's going to be different for us in Ireland than it would be for you wherever you are. So comment on the video and let us know your questions or your thoughts. And we'd love to do a follow-up video and answer some of those questions, or talk about some of your advice. But you know what? When it comes down to it, this channel is called The Happy Man. And I've said to you these last few weeks that the happy man makes no excuses. And that's one of the reasons why he's a happy man. And I've said to you, we need to have ruthless application. And I want to take a moment and make a defense of that. Ruthless means merciless. Now, it means offering no quarter, no mercy whatsoever. Please understand me. I do not mean be ruthless to your family. What I'm talking about is stop making excuses for yourself. I'm encouraging us as men to step up and stop making excuses for our own laziness, our own self-centeredness, our own being driven by our emotions. And even if this is something you're currently struggling with, hey, guess who can relate? Just take some time, submit yourself to the Lord, and take the next right step in this. Stop making excuses, and especially for this video, stop making excuses for not providing times of rest for your family. It's not about the money. It's not about your too busy schedule. If you're too busy to take time off, you're too busy. You need to take time off. Something needs to be cut out. Everyone is much happier. Everyone's much more productive when times of rest are properly prioritized. It's not the most important thing in life, but it's pretty important. So begin planning right now. Right now, start planning for a time this year, next year, whatever the case. Talk about ideas, discuss it with your wife, make it a date night. Say, hey, we're going to sit down and hash out some ideas. And, you plan the food, you plan where you're going to do it. even if it's something cheap. Make it a memory for you and your wife. Sit down, plan out that time, discuss the time of year. Don't get buried into deep discussions about what's going to be the best. Just hash out some ideas. Start putting it down on paper for your next time of family rest. And in doing that, you'll be a happier man, and your wife will be married to a much happier man, and she'll be happier herself if we all have something that we can look forward to together. Mm-hmm. See, for our family, we love the fact that about mid-October, we know we can look forward to, hey, there's going to be some times of rest. So this is what the Happy Man is all about. No more excuses. Go and take action on this. God bless you guys.